All right, there we go. Now it's live. So hello, internets, once
Cat.
again. To everybody watching this, this is another Paradigm Shift Radio After Party Hangout related to a lot of things, but we were talking about social alchemy on the show tonight and like how to change the world, free hugs, all that good stuff. All those mother huggers out there, which is something we're talking about in the pre-show. Shout out to all the moms out there for Mother's Day. So everybody watching, say hi to all the moms out there. Moms, we love you, mom. Woo. Yeah, and Andy's gonna do like a
Mom.
mom sing along
Okay,
karaoke or
I'm gonna.
something. But
All right,
we'll get to
seriously.
that. We gotta
All
save it,
right.
man. We can't do it right away. We gotta wait till we get more viewers up. Once we get to like 10 viewers, then Andy's allowed to sing. So
Yeah.
You know what I'm gonna sing.
good. But anyways, yeah, just on the topic of whatever. Go ahead, Andy.
Right now.
No, don't sing. Don't sing. Andy, no. I'm just gonna
No, I'm
share
not
this
gonna do
link.
that.
for
Dragon Ball theme
starters.
song. Imagine.
Dragon. Anyways, we'll talk about anything. But yeah, like, what'd you guys think of the show tonight? Like, Paradox is a
Seriously,
pretty.
when it comes to social
guy.
alchemy, like I have been through a lot of different social settings and alchemies, and I personally, like, there's nothing stronger than having a family, you know.
Yeah.
Totally.
That's why
man.
whenever, like, have you ever heard of the time where if you were to try to teach one word to a child, and like where he's gonna remember for life, you'll find out that the word mom, the word dad, the word love resonates with the child even 20 years after he's like learned his first words, like
Yeah.
emotionally.
Yeah.
You notice that, right?
Absolutely.
Like, I mean, what's going on, you know? I didn't have no idea how in the world a child remembers that.
Can you be more specific on what you're talking about real quick?
Yeah.
Or can you just
Alright.
reiterate a little bit of what you said?
All
Like,
right,
are you
when
talking-
from my previous show, when I'm talking about mom, I'm talking about your biological mother, the
Mhm.
divine mother that makes who you are. Somehow, when we were children, when we remind of the word mom, somehow it sticks to us. We learn it so quickly that, like, that's why, like, the first word that comes out the mouth of a baby is "mama, mama." You get it? Like, I mean, like, how in the world did he learn that word first, but not others?
Anybody parents? Anybody have kids here that can talk about that at all?
Do you?
No.
I'm a mom.
Then I guess nobody does. Unless Nikolai does. There's a lot of things Nikolai doesn't tell
Luna,
us.
come on.
Like how he's a Russian spy. Right, Nikolai?
I'm in KGB.
That's right, man.
I'm the Russian bear.
You gotta be careful crossing that border, man. I know.
Dude,
Oh yeah, and
I don't know about you guys, but like whenever I go, when I have a chance to talk to Russians, is that the way how they view like children is that a lot of times they're a little bit more disciplinary. Really, I can tell.
Well,
I'm
that
sure you-
depends. I mean, like that if you like go to like kids from like the Soviet Union, yeah, definitely.
There's a lot of things Nikolai doesn't tell us.
Come on.
Like how he's a Russian spy.
Yeah. I'm in KGB.
Oh, is it- right, man. Sarah, do you not have headphones? Was that coming from you?
Sarah.
And hello, Sarah.
Oh yeah,
I
and
don't
plus,
know about you
A
guys, but
wild
like
Sarah has appeared.
when I have a chance to talk to Russians, is that the way how they view like children is that
Yeah,
a lot
what you
of
guys
they're-
like topic of like social alchemy and stuff? Like Nikolai, have you ever done like free hugs or anything? And if not, then how
course.
soon?
Seriously, Skull, if you were to encourage me to hug
Wait,
someone,
what did Nikolai say? I didn't hear him.
I no, like okay, I gotta tell you this one story. There's this party that happened, and it was a bunch of like it was mostly like a bunch of raver people, and you know we were just in this like just trance, and like I remember like you know I didn't really know these people, and I remember just hugging this one girl, and like literally like it was like 5 years of experience, just like an energy transfer like that, and like I was like, whoa, dude, like it was so intense. Like it was like 10 years of experience in just like two, like 3, 5 seconds of just like, hugging interactions. So that's why,
Yeah.
like, yeah, hugs are very powerful.
Like real, like legit hugs too, man. Like that's
Yeah,
there's multiple layers or levels of like
yeah,
hug, right?
Yeah, in fact, you
So
guys ever heard of soul gazing before, where you're gazing at the other person's eye? In fact,
yeah, yeah, that's
if you
very
guys actually
interesting.
found out that that's why loving couples, like, you ever heard of the fact that whenever they stick a lot around with each other for at least 5 or 10 years, they're gonna just like they just become one another, become copies of one another, and that's because like first the hugs, the soul gazing that they did, when they start having sex with one another, and three, they kiss a lot. So imagine three pathways all open at the same time.
Hey,
interesting.
there's Joel. Joel made it.
Yeah,
Joel,
like
We summoned him. I will call him Joel. But yes.
Joel.
I've always been a pretty much an introvert, but what I find interesting, and I get into social settings or walking past someone on the street or at the gym or wherever I'm at, I always check to see like whose head's up, like if their head's down or not. I always wonder like how conscious of a person they are, depending if they can recognize me as another person in the same room or not. Like, are they just focused on themselves and their head down, or are they too shy to interact, or what the scenario is? I was in Wisconsin Dells this weekend, the Kalahari Resort, which is a huge place, and I was constantly looking around, and I didn't see anybody else like look my way. Like everybody was just like so like focused in their little world. I just think that's interesting.
Yeah.
As
Well,
far
that's
as
like
how,
that's like what we're kind of up against, so to speak, is like apathy, you know?
right?
People whose like bubbles are like so like thick that like we need to find ways to just not
Yeah.
pop them, but like
No, yeah,
morph our field into their field. Because I think when you think about it, like that's like almost how it works. You know, there's like bubbles. Some bubbles will like come together and create that Vesica Pisces, but other bubbles will like just like hit up against each other and just like push away again, since they can't go into each other. Whoa, that makes
yeah,
sense.
that's
Yeah.
pretty normal, In fact,
It is pretty normal.
that's what I'm telling you, Skull. If you really encourage me to start hugging, you're playing around with the king of hugs.
Hey, Andy, it shouldn't have to be me telling you to do anything. Once
Because
you
I'm
choose
not
to do free
joking.
hugs on
Because,
yourself,
dude, I'm not joking. Like, if you're asking me to hug, I'm like, I've been learning how to hug ever since I was 4 years old, and I was known to get in trouble for it.
well, the trick is to not be creepy when you free hug people. I will say that. Like part of the tactic, it's very easy. And not saying I've had this problem
I
for
mean,
like,
like,
anyone.
I mean, like,
but,
when I was
to
a
come off
child,
creepy when doing that. So you
I
gotta
mean, like,
be.
when I was a child, I was so genuine on giving people hugs.
Well, that's good though. That's good. You've
The
got
only problem
experience.
is the preconceived notion about hugging. That's really got me trapped in the heap of fire and everything. So yeah.
Okay. But yeah, man, if you feel inspired to do free hugs, like literally, with the sign tactic or whatever you devise, then follow your calling or whatever.
you want to hear an interesting theory about hugs? It's actually like, you know how you said like before that like there's different layers of like when you hug someone, and like I just thought like you know how like you could like if you give this like really like deep hug like when you're just like breathing in and like making this energy like transfer. Like I almost feel as if like it breaks time at the same time, you know?
Dude, I've like talked about that like between me and my girlfriend, like just like the idea of like, hey, I think we can pause time if we like just like
Yeah.
take a moment to try doing it, whether it's in a hug or anything.
Well,
Yeah.
it's
that's
Star Trek.
Pause time, man.
hey, dude,
It's a
that
Star Trek
happens to
movie.
me too. In fact, it turns out that the person that I hugged wasn't even a woman. It was actually a child, and that child was like, Jesus come back to me. I don't want you to leave yet.
You
I
stop this
want more.
time. You like involuntarily. It's like, hey kid, check this out. What? What's going?
Well, I mean,
Oh,
like
yeah.
when he was frustrated, that's when I start giving him the hug,
Oh,
and
he
that's
was
when
like,
he's like, I don't
calming
even
it.
know, I don't even know what I'm frustrated for all of a sudden. But
So is
I
that what
know,
happened? Like he was like
yeah.
frustrated and you hugged him and it helped?
Well, he's like, I asked him, can I give you a hug? And then
Right.
bam, I can like I put him where he belongs, and then that's like 10 minutes later, he's like, wow, I haven't gone out of this.
I saw something on my news feed this week, and it had to deal with someone hugging a kid with ADHD or something to calm him down.
Well, that's the
I,
same with autism, you know.
and I
How
saw,
did that go, Chad? Go ahead, yeah.
I actually didn't watch it, but I actually did see a Dr. Phil thing a couple months ago, where these parents had this child who was just so violent, just purely uncontrollable, and they would spank their kid, yell at him, discipline him. They did they were really trying, they were really heartbroken, but they did a lot of the wrong things, and this kid probably just needed a hug, instead of being disciplined. You can reason with kids at the age of 18 months. I think you can start reasoning with them and creating win-win situations with them. Some things I'm going to talk to my friends with kids about a lot more as their kids get a little older. But I study a lot of Stefan Molyneux's philosophy, non-aggression principle, and he does a lot of talk about growing up and stuff in kids and how the relationship with your parents affect and reflect the people that you have long-term relationships in adult life and your spouses and so forth, and how dysfunctional they are because of your relationship with your parents. Because if you didn't get that hug, or you didn't get that acceptance, or whatever have you, or got spanked, and it kind of goes into an endless cycle of pain in families. And that's what causes alcoholism and people cheating on each other and just all these
like
psychosis.
very rooted problems and stuff that end up in like
yeah.
people's psychology and stuff. Yeah, so like we have to source it out of our generations to come, sort of thing. We have to like wean it out.
Yeah, and that's what this philosophy show. He's trying to he has over 1 million followers. It's libertarian voluntarism.
Who is this?
I actually brought him up a couple times now. It's Stefan Molyneux.
Oh, that guy, dude! I've been on that guy's show, and I was only on for like a minute and got kicked off.
What?
Yeah. Maybe I'll try again. I don't know. It didn't go well the first time, so.
How about that guy?
No, that's whatever.
Adam.
He's an atheist, so he's like a hardcore atheist and stuff too. But he believes in all these really good he takes everything from these principle positions and stuff. But his big thing is silence.
I was trying to talk to him about like lucid dreaming and astral projection and stuff, and
he's not into that.
Exactly, yeah, he's not into that. I'm just like, what? Like, why can't we talk about this? And it didn't make sense to me. I'm just like, if it's out there, we should.
So there's a reason, people like that. They're just humans, humanists.
That's what
I
I'm
personally,
saying. I'm not blaming.
I mean, I know that how that guy thinks. I used to be that way.
Yeah, he's an awesome left brain guy.
Oh, no doubt. Like I agree. Like he's smart. I'm not saying he's not smart and stuff, but yeah, like you're right. He's very left brain oriented, and he's got a good idea of like how the pieces fit together in a lot of ways. So.
Yeah. The only thing is.
Yeah, he's one of my left brain heroes, I guess. The people I follow. I got my
do you listen to his radio show still and everything?
No, I like his. I don't listen to his 2 or 3 hour shows. I listen to, he does a lot of topical stuff for 10, 20, 30, 40 minutes. Things that are in the news. He'll talk about Ukraine. He'll talk about like Trayvon Martin. He did awesome stuff on that. Just really hardcore topical stuff.
Yeah.
But his radio show is to call in. And basically, what he does is you call in and he like starts blasting you through your childhood, and you're like, oh my god.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I've heard in some people. They're like, I do this. What's my problem? And he's just like, "Da-da-da-da-da," just. Anyways, but yeah, that was like I was actually trying to talk to him about like social alchemy, like on that show actually. But yeah, it didn't happen. But just going back to the topic of social alchemy, so who here is going to stick to that proposal for the commitment of doing like 5 shifty things between this show and the next show? Show of hands.
Hello, you have somebody here also.
Who else is putting their hand up?
I refuse to commit or not commit to such a.
Okay, Sarah, give it your best shot though. That's the most you can do. So if it's like, you know, if it's 3, if it's 4, whatever, we can work our way up.
You know, that's one of the biggest.
Nikolai, you put your hand up, right?
Wait, I didn't really.
You don't even know what you're committing to.
Sorry. No. Put your hand up for what?
To do like 5 shifty things between this show and the next show. So like a shifty thing in theory could be like being nice to someone and holding the door open in like a really simple, subtle, soft way. But that's what I'm saying. Like other ways it would be like showing acts of love, but in more
just treat
shifty ways.
people how you like to be treated. Basically.
Yeah, and do weird stuff like stand there with a free hug sign and see what happens. Like the free hug sign is just that's like one of the first levels, or that's a program that I would play with.
Okay.
Intro level. So just try doing a free hug thing, man. You can just find a good location and stay in one spot.
I don't need a sign. I could just like ask someone to have a hug, right?
You can do that. Yeah, you could. That's what I'm saying. The rules are.
Yeah.
You can do what you want with them.
Yeah, no, I'm up for that, dude. Totally.
And then work your way up to the sign, right? So. Sounds good, man. Sounds good.
All right.
You know,
Right.
you want to know one of the challenging things that I do for paradigm shift in terms of doing the shifty stuff is trying to hug an at-risk youth. I'm talking to you, man, because I'm not joking. Try to hug those guys. Sometimes, like they might scratch you, they might kick you in the face.
Yeah.
I'm not joking.
Yeah.
I work with them, and I get punched all the time.
Well, I'm glad they could use some hugs, man. That's good that they're getting a few from you.
I dare one of you guys to try them for fun.
Yeah, I mean that's like where you take it to the next level, right? It's like who are you like free hugging, or like where are you free hugging? It's like
or sing a song to them.
Like Skull Babylon like breaks into a prison to do free hugs or something like that. Maybe not.
I can just imagine you start giving free hugs in the prison hall. That would be crazy.
Yeah, hopefully I wouldn't get too destroyed just from their.
Hey, I'm so used to that.
So.
I give free hugs to even the kids that would.
Sarah, what did you say? What'd you say?
Nothing necessary, nothing worth repeating.
Oh, but it was probably something about like a prison joke or something. I don't know.
A prison joke.
But yeah, just like imagine all the crazy places that you could do free hugs. Just like really, it could be anywhere. Like that's the thing.
Yeah,
like,
think about it.
Okay, like this would be a practical one. Like the cafeteria of like a business building, like where business office hours. So, you know, people are down there eating lunch and stuff, and you could like go there, and there would be people. I think that would be one way.
Just like a very like consumer capitalist.
Very. For going to like the most capitalist places you can go, and people are just like, well, I say I never will give a free hug without, you know, like getting paid $1 or something.
Thinking that too.
The public bathroom.
Public bathroom? Well, that'd just be kind of again. Man, you don't want to be
a little
creepy.
too disturbing.
No, the plan is not to be creepy. But yeah.
Or guys, how about
the
Spider?
on-the-go station along the highway.
Go stations, buses, yeah, like transportation.
Well, like the on-the-go ones that are along the highway with like all the restaurants.
Oh, okay, yeah, like those restaurants. Yeah, that would be a good place. You're right. There's a lot of traffic there.
You get a good mix of construction workers and business people and tourists and.
And there's always people passing through because people are always driving on the roads. Yeah. Good point.
You guys want to know another place? Try what we call the rehab center.
Right.
Dude, those guys, oh my god.
The public bathroom thing is kind of funny because that's where I find that most people open up and talk to me is in the public bathroom. Like, go to a concert or something like that, and you're in the bathroom, and people are always talkative to you.
And also drunk.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, but people open up to you like more in the bathroom and say hi to you sometimes than anywhere else.
It doesn't happen in the girls' bathroom.
No? I thought that was a
No.
big social clique
Balls,
thing.
balls between everyone.
Depends on the place. But yeah, like doing places like psychiatric wards or like even old people homes. Old people homes, that'd be awesome. As long as they don't have like polio or anything.
Leo.
Hey,
Dude, my
hey guys,
grandma's
just
like
give it a
retirement
try. I
places in
personally try
lockdown.
nursing homes too. You know,
So,
it's like as though you guys don't ever try that.
what'd you say? Tried what? Or he's eating
He's
something
shoving alcohol orange in his mouth.
now.
Telling you, try the nursing home.
The nursing home, yeah.
Yeah, my great
That was
aunt's
a good place to do it.
my great aunt's in a nursing home, and I found out that Sunday is her worst day of the week because there's no one there with her. Because throughout the week, she actually hires a person to come stay with her during the week.
Right.
And then my dad and grandma hang out with her a lot on Saturdays, but no one comes to see her on Sundays because she doesn't pay someone to come visit her. So I think I'm gonna start stopping in on Sundays so that she has someone to look forward to seeing on Sunday, so she's not so
Cool,
miserable.
man. Good idea.
There's my shifty one thing.
Yeah, dude, man, like spending time with your grandmother, that's
This
pretty
is my
shifty.
great aunt.
Your great aunt, anyone who needs company, that's shifty.
Or be a nanny.
Being like altruistic, you know? Or benevolent.
Absolutely, man.
So we had about 150 live listeners for that show. So.
Nice.
Oh, I forgot to
Right.
mention there's going to be a global meditation this Wednesday because that's when the full moon is.
I guess I'm gonna have to start turning up my song then.
What?
I guess I'm gonna turn up my song then.
What? You're going to sing? No, Andy. We haven't,
We haven't
We
reached
haven't-
10 people yet.
on this video right now, like that we're talking in, we have 3 live viewers.
Hey,
Still not up yet then.
Man, people don't care what we're up to. People don't care if we're trying to like be all shifty and change the world and hug our grandmothers and stuff, man.
dude, I was gonna
No,
ask.
that's a lie. They do care.
I was
Don't worry,
gonna
dude. They'll come.
How was that Lucidity Festival?
Yeah, that was good, man. I haven't gotten to like full details on the radio show about it, but it'll be like I'm just getting into the editing, man. Like when I find like spare time, because I just got a couple other projects that aren't that at the moment. But it was cool, man. Like I
Yeah.
was filming a lot. I filmed more this time than I did the first time. But I was still enjoying myself. Like I was still like, because like that was kind of like the challenge for me is like finding that balance where like I can still film but still be in the moment. Whereas normally if you just like take out your camera, like you're there differently. So it was like playing around with that. But it was cool, man. Like I met there's a good decent amount of people there who I met who like knew me like as Skull Babylon and were like yo man, like I saw the first movie, man, and like now I'm here. Thank you. And I was like, yeah, man, like that's awesome. So there's like I'm just trying to think of what was like crazy stuff. There's a lot of cool like art, like light stuff at night.
I bet, dude.
Like the sets were cool, man. I didn't even really stick around for like too much of like the main music stage and stuff like that. Like I was usually I was just always somewhere else. So, but it was cool, man. And just like the costumes people had and everything, you know. So
How many
That's the
people were there?
how many people? I don't know. I mean, I'm guessing it's probably like 5,000, 6,000.
They seem bigger than the year before, or about the same?
Not necessarily, because like it's always the way that makes that festival really cool is that it's designed with like different villages, different areas that almost have different like energies, different themes to them, and there was like the main stages on top of that. So like people were always flowing everywhere. There's never like people like getting like clustered in areas or anything. There was always somewhere where people were either coming from or going to. So I mean, it felt like it was just as many people as it did last year, just because you're always seeing people in general.
Well, yeah, that's the thing I like about those festivals is just like they start off so small, and they just spiral, dude. Like that's what they do. Like just like Burning Man, it started off really small, and now it became so huge. And like that's why I'm saying like they should be more festival like that, like LIB, you know, Lucidity Fest, Electric Forest, like all these festivals. Like I love them. They're just so
Oh,
great because it just gives you that sense of community. Like
Mm-hmm.
awesome.
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
I
man.
know. But like, try doing it in Austin, man. Dude, it's gonna be big over here.
Doing
Like,
like
I'm
a
not joking.
festival or
Yeah, a festival. I know
in
California
Austin?
is pretty big on that, but like, imagine Austin and Houston having that also. Because the thing is that over here, Bonnie lives in Austin. I live in Austin. I have another friend who's living in Austin. We're all part of the same community.
Dude, I'm pretty sure Sam lives in Austin. I haven't heard from him in a while.
Yeah,
Or,
Sam
or if it's
also
not,
lives.
it's either Sam or Chris. Does Chris live in Austin? Like
Yeah,
Tony
like
Stark?
heck,
You live in Austin?
Austin.
Maybe.
I
But
think
anyways,
yeah.
no, I know there's like I think Sam was talking about like some like full moon festival type thing that happens where he is. But he may not be in Austin. I'll find out. No, he is. Sam Junk. Yeah, he's in Austin. I'll
Yeah,
find it. I'll connect you with him because he might know some cool events going on that are like vibed similar or in some way reflective of like the festival type vibe. So
I don't know about you guys, but like when it comes to being a in terms of bringing in the vibe for the community, you guys ever heard of how singing can also play a major role in bringing people together?
no doubt.
Yeah, like no doubt. Even without the scientific proof, somehow like the social setting just keeps proving itself over and over that singing does bring people together.
Well, I think music in general, not just singing, brings people together and is very powerful.
But like, I mean, especially singing because I'm not joking. Like I've seen how so many people like just because they play the violin or even make their own music or even start singing, they like a lot of people just come in and just like go wild.
The musical scale is synchronistic to creation, so
Yeah.
it's gonna have that like power.
Who was somebody talking there? Who was talking? Anyways.
Oh,
Yeah, like you could do shifty stuff. Shifty stuff could be like singing on a street corner. It's like it would just be like I would just like sing like South Park songs or something. There's a bunch of birds in the sky, and some deers just went running by. Do you guys know? Do you guys know that song? Like from the beginning of South Park?
I have no idea. I'm not
It's
a
like
fan.
something, 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 something. Da 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 something mountain town, and then it's just like, oh, the grass is purple, or no, the grass is not purple. I'm gonna look up the lyrics and I'm gonna sing this song. Or if, and we only got 3 viewers, so
Oh,
I
damn
know,
it.
man. People just aren't. People are getting snack food. Now it's actually what I was. I was gonna go get something to eat. I'm hungry. I was gonna do that actually.
Oh.
South Park, the musical.
You know, if I were you, I would start picking up Celtic Woman.
Sorry, what?
I would start picking up Celtic Woman and start singing.
Celtic Woman.
Yeah, I'm not joking. Their music is like, oh my god.
Oh, that's a band. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it is a band from Ireland.
Called Celtic Woman. Okay, cool.
Like, I'm not joking. If you start singing that, I would just start harmonizing along.
Yeah, here's the lyrics to the South Park song. The first part when it's just like, the sun is shining and the grass is green under the 3 feet of snow. I mean, this is a day when it's hard to wear a frown. All the happy people stop to say hello. Get out of my way, even though the temperature is low. It's a perfect Sunday morning in my quiet little mountain town. And then it's like a conversation between Stan and his mom, and he's like, "Good morning, Stan." Something, and then he goes to a movie, etc., etc. And then Sharon sings something, and then they're still talking. Yeah, and then Stan starts singing again. He says, "Oh God, that's hard." You can see your breath hanging in the air. You see homeless people, but you just don't care. It's a sea of smile in which we'd gladly drown. And then Kenny says something where he goes, and then Stan says, "That's right, it's a Sunday," and then it goes into that, and then, oh man, this just keeps going. But yeah, I think.
Now remember when that one with the chef, he goes like, "I wanna make love."
Yeah. Any of the chess songs, yeah.
That's a funny one.
Okay. Other than South Park though, how's everyone doing?
Good, man.
Great.
Cool, man.
Dude, if you guys can't stay up that late, I wouldn't be all surprised.
Well, you guys want to talk
I guess
about?
that depends where you are.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Is anybody in like a drastically different time zone right now?
I think I might be.
I'm in
It's not
Central
midnight?
Time.
Yeah, Central.
Yeah, Central.
It's 11:54 a.m. here, so
Yeah,
that might be different.
You're in opposite land, man.
Yeah, I'm in Australia.
Yeah, that too. Cool, man. Did you listen to the show?
Yeah, man, I did.
Oh, cool. At like 10 a.m. or at 9 a.m. in the morning. Oh, that's pretty.
Yeah, it was about like
That's-
2.5 hours ago, was it?
That's
Yeah.
pretty cool. That's a nice thing to like start the day off, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
Sweet, man. Well, we can talk more about. I mean, I'd love to just keep inspiring you guys to like get out there and do free hugs and experience it for
So
yourself.
like seriously, since it's Mother's Day, I wonder
Oh,
if
you want to
some
talk
of you
about Mother's Day
guys-
stuff?
yeah, about moms.
We could do that too.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously, like we've been off from the energy of our moms for a long time, and it's time that we go back to explore like how come like after when we're 30s and some people reach their mid 20s and somehow they have that connection with mom a lot,
Mhm. Yeah. No, I mean, when I always think of mom, I always think of like the esoteric sort of perception of like the mother, as in sort of
Earth.
like the caring nature of the universe. Yeah, like Earth and just like the nature of the universe itself. Sort of
Yeah.
helping. That's where if you anybody saw my Facebook post today, I said like moms, like thank you for like holding our hands as we diligently learned how to walk, which is kind of like what I was talking about there is like the mother as like the kindness, the loveness, the femaleness, the caringness of the universe itself, which does that. Like as we're like learning to walk in like a metaphysical sense, the mother is like holding our hand, and that's the thing though. Like that's the difference between like if we're sitting on the ground, because like this is the other side of the coin. If we're just sitting on the ground and we're not trying to walk, then like the mother doesn't. She wouldn't pull us up off the ground. It's the idea that like we have to like stand up and choose to walk, and then she'll like hold our hand as we're learning. But we have to be in that process where we're like consciously trying to learn, and then she'll hold our hand. So if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think even about what the other guy said before, sorry if I don't know your name, we are sort of neglecting like the Mother Earth. We are sort of just, I don't know, we're just being distracted by all these other things, I guess. And
I
we've
think
forgotten.
it is. I think distractions is exactly what it is, man. You're right. Totally. Yeah. Anybody else? Just feel free.
I don't think it's because we're distracted or any of that. It's just like somehow we just have that preference, because somehow
Preference to
Yeah,
what?
What do you mean?
like we've gone through a point where we did appreciate our mothers. In fact, that was Lemuria or Atlantis, but I'm wonder like what happened afterwards. Does that mean like we have forgotten it? I don't think so. It's just somehow like we saw an advancement and we just turn over to something else.
I think
it's just a ship.
I mean, I'll just respond to this real quick. To me, like that's just like a reflection of like the yuga cycles, really. Like because that's what happens. Like we come into awareness, like we remember our mother, we are with our mother, and then we like move away from her, and then we start to come back to her. So like where we are, like we're on like that coming back phase into.
You know, that's why I always joke around on my Facebook, where I tell people that the thing that really amazed me the most about humans is that they always hasten to grow up as a person and be old and be away from their moms, just to find out that as they get older, they want to get young and be with their moms because they missed it.
Hmm.
It's pretty weird.
Yeah, yeah, it's weird. Brain sort of like forgets until it remembers.
It's almost like as though it's almost like that exclusion psychology where people like, oh,
Yeah.
this is what I want. I'm gonna go get it because it's far away from me. And then next thing you know, you try to, since the other one is now far away from me, I'm gonna go pursue it again. It's like, didn't you have that from the very first place?
Yeah. Well, it seems to be that way with a lot of stuff, right? Like we appreciate something, and then it's transient. It won't be there forever. And then as we realize this, like it's sometimes for people take it differently. You know, like are you sad at the fact that it's not going to last, or do you appreciate the fact that you have it right now, sort of thing, right? You know, I just even think that with like animals, like dogs and stuff like that, you know, because they don't live like forever, right? Their lifespan's like shorter, so like you really just like appreciate, and just obviously, you know, just people in general and stuff. But yeah, like like what we're talking about, you know, the relationship with our mother specifically and stuff like that. Yeah, just or anyone, just appreciating it.
Yeah, in fact, that's personally is what I keep thinking about in ourselves. Is that the thing is we've been born to a divine mother, of course, but like somehow we've lost that connection. Is because does it have anything to do with how we learn from our parents? You know,
Hmm. Maybe it's just like necessity and old,
like I
like
mean,
our
like
habits.
how in the world is that we become who we are just because our parents make us? You know,
Mhm.
I always, like every time when we talk about parents, somehow it's that preconceived notion that our parents are like, oh, they're going to determine how we're going to act and all this stuff. And I was like, uh, is that it? Aren't we entities also?
They teach you everything. They teach you so much that it's hard to overlook that. They teach you how to be a person. They teach you how to do social interactions.
It's interesting when you think about even just with animals, right? Like how they're like when you think about how a baby knows how to do like as an animal, intuitively like knows how to do what it does as an animal, sort of thing.
Or like the parenting stages between, like parenting has gotten longer. Like we take care of our kids for this many years before they even step out of the home or by themselves. But when some animals, you know, they're born and they just already know where to go, what to do. Like, you know, it's just
Yeah,
Yeah,
like the
and
deer will know how to survive, like sort of thing. But like
yeah,
and but that's the thing though, like it learns over generations. So if it's adapting to its environment over generations. So like in that sense, like the baby deer is not like this whole separate entity. That baby deer is like a new version of the current deer. It's like 2.0, but then it's always like 3.0, 4.0, however many each generation. Like even think of the word generation. Like what is like to me a generation is like an explosion. It's like a big bang. It is that. So like each new life, each one of us, like you know, like we are like a generation of energy. So what energy
but
are we
like,
generating?
but this is where I found out really strange is that humans don't always function the same way. And in fact, when you look at the indigo children, you'll find out that the amount of parenting that requires for them is like it's like a lot more than an average child nowadays.
Hmm.
Like, I mean, think about it. Back in the old days, my parents, they don't mind getting spanked at. But when it comes to my generation, since I'm a borderline crystal and indigo, it doesn't work on me. And in fact, I get even more pissed off. Like, I mean, like, what's going on? Is
It's
that,
it doesn't require more parenting. It requires more respect.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
can't treat a
mutual
child like
respect.
a lesser being. That's why indigo children have ODD and these things that they're just being drugged to try and treat. It's a lack of respect, not a lack of parenting.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah,
drugging.
Like,
back to what you were saying about the mother and holding the hand. The more that you look to your past, the less that you're holding hands with your mother, you can kind of piece the connection together. That makes sense.
it does.
But like we're drugging children to pay for society's issues and society's problems, not the children's problem.
Yeah, we're not going to the root.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
I think with a
that
lot
makes
of
sense. Does it?
a lot of like illnesses, like especially mental illnesses that we diagnose children with, so a kid in class will not have a very good attention span, and we'll be like, all right, that kid's got ADD, this kid's got schizophrenia. Let's take them away from their class, let's take them away from their friends, and let's put them in hospitals from when they're young, and tell them that they're different, tell them that they're not normal, but they need to change the way they see the world. Like, I just think the way we go about it is just wrong. Like, what does that do to the children? What does that do to them growing up? Do they see themselves as a mistake or something different that's wrong? Like, I don't know.
They're getting educated, and education is actually uneducating them. It's putting them farther and farther down the rabbit hole and away from their family. They're alienating themselves. So it's really tough when, especially when people have never met their family, but when they get separated from their family, then a day in the life of a school kid is he goes to school and gets picked on, and then he goes home and he carries that weight with him, and it's a reflection at the home life. So there's just no outlet.
Yeah.
Right?
I think that your life at school would be a reflection of what's at home as opposed to well, I guess it reflects both ways.
So then what ends up happening is that you get games, This is why the computer is such a money maker, is because, oh my God, you can do everything on it. But what you start to notice in your reflections is that, oh, I could have been doing this stuff already in my mind if I just would have received the know-how.
Yeah.
Because what we're trying to do is find an outlet, find outside of the matrix. When in all reality, we are creators. We did create everything because somebody else, and we're all connected in that chain.
Yeah.
Tough to really piece it all together, but you're just a piece of the puzzle, just the same as anybody else. So when people say like mutual respect and everybody is no more than anybody else, well then you have to think, okay, all right, well my friends have got my back, but what about my family? What about the element that I grew up into? Because everybody has something wrong with them, and there's a shift in your life. Some people, like we were saying, have it happen to them at the moment that they're born, and other people have to go into it. Abraham Lincoln, it happened midway through his life when he realized, and then he started looking back and looking into what was going on in his past, because that was the only thing. Once that hits, then your past is the only thing that you can use as a connection to go back and really resolve everything. So you spend your whole life just trying to resolve that, make amends.
Cool.
Yeah, I think it's
Thanks, man. That was
more.
good.
Yeah,
I
I
was just
think
gonna say, guys, I'm just stepping away from it, but yeah, keep it up. That's good stuff. Go ahead, Nicholas.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think it's more about like the past, the present, and the future. Like, if you figure out a way somehow how to sort of, uh, live in that moment, you know, yeah, I think you would reach a point of infinity in your conscious and unconscious mind, and you know, y- yeah, basically. But it's kind of hard to like. It's easy words. Like it's really hard to do.
Mhm. Well, Mohammed, remember how you talked about how we dealt with our kids and everything, and how we
Yeah.
drugged them? Well, I'm an example of that. In fact, I was diagnosed with 3 different disorders, and there was got got physically abused for, emotionally abused for, and got bullied in school.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I've read in some places that the way they used to deal with these, they're not so much illnesses, or maybe they're just different ways of perceiving the same thing. Really, just because they see things from a different perspective doesn't mean that they're wrong. But what I read that they used to do in some of the, I think in South America and some of the more tribal areas, they used to get the children, and children that had conditions similar like schizophrenia and things like that, they'd take them to the shaman, and they'd be like, okay, so they'd sort of stay with them, and they'd sort of go, so he'd tell them, you're special, you're going to heal people, you're going to help people, I'm going to tell you these things, I'm going to show you these things, and it's just a completely different way of dealing with the same problem that we do today. I think we make a bit more of a problem by doing what we do. But yeah.
Oh yeah, in fact, oh yeah, in fact, back in the old Asian countries, that happens a lot. Like the old days, we use those children as gifts, but somehow when the Western culture comes in, it just literally killed everything. We also have something similar to that, but then it's like, uh, so yeah, like, and even the concept of mom, like somehow we began, like, what we began as like a biological concept where mom is like something very close to us. But nowadays, like when we talk about mom, some people can just look at it and like, what's a mom? You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, like,
They should
I mean,
really come out with an AI type of movie of like Bicentennial Man, but it's Bicentennial Mom, and they just kind of have a mom program to be everything that they say a mom should be, and then or a brother, right, or whoever was closest to the child that had then let's say passed on, but. Then that person comes back into the life, and you see the person who needed the bicentennial person. um, sorry, guys. Saying, they're fine, and everything's good, and then that person, that mom or that brother would then question themselves. I think it'd be a good thing to make a movie about.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool idea. I like that.
that's what makes me really have to ask myself, like, because we all been through all those biological stages of life. We will we will be far away from moms. We'll be far away from dads, but then eventually we'll have to, we'll come back to it later. But like somehow, it's almost like as though whenever we talk about mom, then even to teenagers nowadays, they just like a little grossed out about it. They feel like, moms? Doesn't that look like babies to me? Because that does sound like I'm going back to being an 8-year-old. Or some of them will be like, stop treating me like an 8-year-old.
Well, one thing that my friends used to say to me was, Eric, you're so selfish. If you would just see that this is how the real world is, you know, you are the lock and you are the key. If you can only see past that. Well, I did a lot of soul searching, and I realized that, no, I was always a nice person. I was always trying to do the right thing. But I never went into my past and gave love to my mother because she didn't give love to me. But the reality is that that's not how the world works. So maybe some sort of compensation is that when I was really young, you know, just like when people are puppies, oh, puppies are so cute, you know, you give them so much love. Well, when they get older, then let's say that, you know, something happens to the mother, such as mental illness, right? If she's not there in the way that she was supposed to be for you the whole time, then that's not your fault. But you don't get told that, you know. So how it comes full circle is that you have to give out the love. You know, that's why we have things like Mother's Day and Father's Day. Aside from consumerism, consumerism doesn't matter, you know. But Mother's Day is really important, and everybody's really reflecting on it this year. So, you know, it's good to, and I'm just giving advice to myself, right? It's good to just give love to your mother, even if she doesn't give it back, because that's not how life works. You can't just knock on a door and expect for it to be open. You have to keep knocking, and you know, sometimes people won't be there. You know, whether they come to the door later, oh, you're here, or they finally wake up and you know, get ready and then open the door, boom. But it takes that knocking, you know. You have to give that love, and you might not get it back.
Yeah.
Well, I know
Yeah,
those.
that's what.
But the good news is that the universe will provide that void, you know. So if you just keep on knocking, and you can't give up, you know, you always have to try and give that love, because that's what you're gonna want, you know, for your soul's resolution. But it's not the act of getting it, because your mind can simulate that love, you know. So the universe will provide it elsewhere. You know, it's like, okay, well, I might not have a great connection with my mom, but I have the best friend that anybody could have. You know, I'm so blessed to be able to spend so much time with her, him, her, her.
Humor. I think it's very important to have those to resolve those issues with parents. I think that's why a lot of people act the way they do, and they're not conscious of it. The situation I had this week with this person, I got to know this person, and I won't say everything what it was about, but that person clearly had issues with their parents, their father figure, their mother figure in their lives, and it was so prevalent. And even after I did try to point it out to them, they still didn't have a clue. I tried to point out actually a lot of different things, but if you're not consciously aware of it and you're not willing to accept things, you go in this denial and you don't resolve these issues, and you just like go through life asleep because you're not awoken to your own you know, self delusions, and it's just a huge a blockage to you succeeding in life. I think these issues are very, very important to understand about yourself.
Yeah, it's tough when sorry, I'm deaf, in case you didn't know. It's tough when a friend comes to you and has these problems, you know, and they tell you over and over again, and you want to help them, but They're parents, you know, and I think that parents is an outdated term. Why? Because parents sounds like some parents, you know, who are united, you know, with each other. They're the team against the child. Then you hear things like, "Oh, pay the rent, pay the rent. You've got to do this, you've got to do that. You've got to go out and get a job. You got to go to school. You got to do all this bullshit that they didn't do themselves, you know." But when we revert back to the individuals, you know, our mother, father, and just having those individual times, it doesn't single you out, and it singles them out the individual in the right way. And what we're seeing a lot in this day and age is that a lot of couples are separating. They're all getting divorced. You know, something is happening in them. When you look back, where it's like, okay, why did my parents get divorced? Well, sometimes they just got tired of each other, you know, and just wanted to move on. You know, it's just stuff that's in their own mind that that you can't really do anything about because you didn't know their past. You know, just okay, that's the way it is. Sometimes they just move on, sometimes they pass on. You know, but when you look at couples that stay together, then you've actually seen a lot of them staying together. When they are just holding on, then that reflects the child again, you know. So what can you do? Like I said, you just have to individual. You don't want to be a referee at the same time because you don't want to say, okay, you go that way and you go that way, because they'll say, who are you? And then you'll keep on going through that stuff. So yeah, it's tough to turn your buddy away, but you did the right thing, so good for you.
Imagine like in the future, when like there will be no like people would actually figure out a way how to synthesize a human, and so do you guys think that people just stop making love at that point?
Oh yeah, that would be the most horrible thing.
No, I mean imagine. I mean it's coming. Like technology is getting nuttier and nuttier, and people. It would be I do believe if like if you see a pregnant woman from like 100 years from now on, it would be kind of like socially incorrect. Imagine. Like people would just be like, "Oh, you selfish! Like, why do you want to carry that child?" It's like.
Yeah, you have better ways to waste your time now. This isn't 2014 anymore.
Was that in any of Huxley's books and stuff?
Yeah, Brave New World.
Yeah, Brave New World. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an awesome book.
Yeah, I know, but like, here's the problem with that. The thing is there's more to a child or a human than just simply incubating the egg and the sperm.
Yeah, but the thing is, bro, like,
healthy. The spirit becomes healthy because of love, and that's what makes that's what really makes a human. Without love, you're just a psychopath.
Right. That's I know that, but here's the thing, bro. Like, we're really weird creatures, and we're very unpredictable. So my point is, it's like, the emotions. We don't really know the emotions that we're gonna have, even from 5 years from now on. So, it's that's the thing. I'm not for that. Like, I'm for love. Don't get me wrong, but
Well,
there's
think
just
about it, Chad. In fact, here's what even more weird than you think is that when I look back thousands of years ago, I found out that humans weren't like all distant from the divine, but somehow when religion came by, I every time whenever I talk to somebody who is religious, they just somehow have that fear against the divine. It's like there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with God. I've been discussing about this from the previous shows, and some people are like, "Uh-oh, this is pretty sensitive to talk about."
yeah. There's nothing wrong. The thing is, there's nothing wrong with expressing this mystic experience, whatever it is. You know, when you start kind of selling, you know, the fake. Well, you know, when you start when you put, you know, consumerism and capitalism into that kind of area, the whole shebang becomes fake, and you know that I believe that that's exactly where you know, Judeo-Christianity just did, you know. So you know, I mean, you know, it's awesome. Don't get me wrong. Like Christianity can get people into community, you know.
No, yeah, I have to agree with you. Like when it comes to Judeo-Christianity, you notice that people are like if you look over the essence of Christianity, it's like every inch of it is esoteric. The whole
No.
Bible itself.
You guys, if you guys seen my Bill Donahue clips and stuff that I've thrown out there, you know, I have a very interesting take on the Bible and stuff. But one of the things I might do for just to get myself out there and talk to people is I think I'm going to find a Bible study group, and I'm going to start throwing some weird angles at them and see how they deal with it, just as an experiment. I think it'll be really interesting to learn from them and maybe and see what they react to.
Well, yeah, it would be interesting, but dude, like you're gonna lose. You're gonna become really angry at the end because usually these things end up.
No, my personality is never anger. I actually had a friend a couple years ago who was hardcore Christian, and we would just have all these weirdest. I wasn't as knowledgeable that game today, but we had like all these cool discussions all the time and stuff. But I'm not gonna come at it from any expecting point of view. I'm just gonna go with the flow and then just kind of like throw like curveballs at him once in a while on.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing, dude. Like the Judeo-Christian philosophy is, you know, basically, from my experience, is, you know, it basically programs people. That's what it does. It's not, you know, it's not that it's not a like that's why I said philosophy because it's not like have you ever met you know, it's really hard to find a, you know, Christian person that, you know, is, you know, like has these shares these philosophies, shares that philosophy, shares, you know, Buddhism. Like I mean I mean I'm sure no, they do exist, of course, you know, dude. It's just
Yes, I know what you're talking about, Nicole.
it's just
Following the School of the Holy Science and following Bill Donahue, it's the entire Bible, like, and especially it's all esotericism, it's all astrology, and I can quote all sorts of biblical scriptures to prove, you know, my points and stuff. But it's a very, very esoteric book. It teaches you that all the stories are teaching you that you should be meditating. All these stories are allegories, and the Bible says it's an allegory. Jesus says, why do you call me Lord and don't do what I tell you to? Because it's written in allegories, and it's almost known that the exoteric groups of people that would take it as literal stories instead of fact that every single story is about your own consciousness. Every single story is about your own mind. It's about your
Right.
five senses. So I'm just gonna go with the flow. I mean, I'm mainly there to listen and to learn, see what their mindset is. But I just think it'd be an interesting exercise for me just to even get out there and talk
Yeah.
to people because I don't.
That counts as like a form of shiftivism, I would say.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, just like you said. I mean, if it's a social experiment, to me, like that counts as doing. Like, I don't think I clarified on the show, you know, when I was just talking about like doing shifty stuff. Like shifty stuff is just like getting people to like think differently, you know, right? So,
That's what
or
I
just like
mean.
opening up opportunities for you to change your own perception, of course, too.
Yeah, that's what I said. I'm there to learn their perspective as
Exactly.
Well, let's go
Well,
with that.
I think what you said about how you were talking about the esoteric stories, like the different interpretations. I think that's one of the main problems with a lot of these biblical scriptures, whether it be like Christianity, Muslim, like a lot of them, they have these stories that you can interpret, I guess, just. But it's really hard to just interpret in one way. I think there's so many, like they're so vague and general that you can, the meaning that you can draw out of these sort of passages and certain quotes, are just, you know what I mean? That it'd just be a variety. It wouldn't be one, you know what I mean? Everybody with their own experience would be bringing in that interpretation of what they read. I mean, but I don't know.
Exactly. Well, and in fact, this is where like I'm pretty big about the biblical stuff. Is that you guys be sure you read the original source because.
Andy,
especially,
can you
like,
speak up? I can't hear you that well.
I mean, like you guys have to start looking for the original source of the Bible because I'm not joking. I tried
Yeah.
looking over
Called the
the
Dead Sea
reverse.
Scrolls.
Yeah, the what do we call it? Revised version. I was like, this is nowhere near what I have been reading about the Bible. This is nowhere.
Yeah, that's very important. Yeah, that's very important because what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring a King James version with me because I have a feeling that they're going to have some newer version. And the King James version is very different than these newer versions in very key words and key areas and key phrases. So that's kind of what I'm going to do is introduce the different words from the older version and that's how I'm going to throw curveballs.
Yeah, yeah.
Say, hey, can't you interpret it this way?
Yeah, well, I think even.
So yeah, I agree with you, Andy.
I think even with I don't know if you guys have read the Origin of Species, but the original version I haven't finished it. I've only started reading it, but you find that there's so much more like reference to like how everything depended on everything else. Everything sort of worked together. It wasn't what they sort of try and portray in the new version of the Origin of Species, which is just the main idea of, you know, survival of the fittest, you know, some concept that humans to be the apex predator, we need to kill and consume everything else to, you know what I mean? But the original actually talks so much more about, and is more, yeah, just about the love and things creatures and all different forms of life had for each other and their dependence on each other as well.
You know, that's what makes me really have to ask, like, when did, like, especially like the book of Origins of Species and even the Bible, like, when did we start interpreting it differently and then start wording it or revising it? You know, it shouldn't be that way. And then next thing you know, like when we educate our children, we ended up finding that they became so sensitive to what we've been teaching them, and then next thing you know, they end up having mental illness that we don't even have any idea about. You know, like me, when I was a child, I actually had one moment where I was depressed because like I just couldn't handle the concept of the fact that everybody is born with sin.
Yeah, that's right.
Like,
They've taken a very key concept of one of the things I've been dealing with. I'm sorry if I'm talking over you, Andy. I'm kind of choppy here. One of the things I've been dealing with this week is with higher consciousness and rising yourself up into this higher consciousness, being a more aware person. And it's the Bible and the Christian teachings that they have now is that you're like you come into this world as a sinner, you're good for nothing, you need someone else to save you, and that is very, very, very damaging to society. But it's great for profits for the church.
Yeah.
I know, right? And in fact, that's like I personally, like I thought I got diagnosed with depression with that one when I just listened to it over and over again when I was in church.
Yeah.
Not only that, but like the fact that, the church can like, so-called creationalists can, with no scientific evidence whatsoever can say, the world is like, 3,000 years old. That really baffles me also, because I mean, I don't really want my future children to like kind of work under that mentality, because the thing is, once you start kind of, you know, not questioning lots of things, and you're just really throwing yourself on a really shitty road, because you can, yeah, and that road might or might not take you to a good place. Uh, I when I first came to America, like, I remember I entered, like, I had a neighbor, and her family was like super Judeo-Christian, and I was, raised kind of like complete atheist. Like, my grandma's a scientist, and like, I started talking about like dinosaurs and stuff, and like, I don't know, like, I got kicked out of the house just because I like said, like, yeah, the Earth is billions and billions of years old, and
Hmm.
it's just like,
Well,
it's crazy. I don't know.
what they usually say is like, isn't the excuse I've usually heard is that they say that God put those fossils there to test them, to test their faith now.
Yeah,
That's what they usually.
yeah, exactly. And I'm like, dude, like, no.
I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, seriously, like, is that how your God is gonna do? Is that he's just trying to deceive you, and then after that, like, try to see if you like believe in him? Because seriously, is that how your God really wants you to be? Is just all be stupid and just blindly believe you when the goal is to know if he's telling the fact or not? Come on. I mean, what's the worst can happen if you don't if you know that your God is wrong?
Well, I don't know, this is a bit off topic, but something interesting I was reading was like in like we've all heard the story of Adam and Eve, like Eve eating from the tree of knowledge, the forbidden tree of knowledge, and a quote in, I can't remember which version of the Bible exactly, but it says, do not eat from the tree of knowledge. It is forbidden. If you do, you will become like us. And it's like, what does that mean? What does that mean? Like, when we will become like them? Like, will we? If that's, wouldn't we want to become like them? Aren't they these? Yeah, I don't know. It's just a bit of an interesting thing.
Yeah.
Considering, I guess a lot of the different substances and drugs that we can use to expand our knowledge, expand our experience and
But like,
understanding.
here's the thing. What is the tree of knowledge? That's the question.
Well, what is a tree? A tree is nothing more than an expression of the Fibonacci sequence, right?
Right,
And
but what
Mm.
is the tree of
in
knowledge?
a seed, is nothing more than a seed of creation, which is representative of a circle, which in two circles in the Vesica Pisces, and all the sacred geometry comes right from nature.
Yeah, yeah.
Chad, what's cool about the little quote that you put there, "Thou shalt surely die," is that can be taken in the context of you will take on a new form of consciousness or existence, because what is death but a transition, right?
Right, and that's the reason why the snake's there. The snake has always been a symbolism for transformation and transformation, because in two different ways. You have the snake who can shed its old skin and become new, but you can also have like the dragon. I think this is what the dragons and stuff too is. You have like the lower conscious mind, so the snake is slithering on the ground in its lower conscious state. But once it gets wings and it rises up, it becomes that all-powerful being too. I think that's what dragons are.
I guess, like from what you wrote on there, Joe, Chad, is that the tree of knowledge or of good and evil. It sounds like the pineal gland, and that tree of life, that immortal tree, sounds like that crown chakra that we were talking about.
Well, if you take with good and evil, you can also have, you take out the O, you have God. You put a D in the front, you have devil. Evil backwards is live, and then devil backwards is lived. So you have a situation where, what is really evil? What is the devil? It's not living. I mean, that's evil, is not living. And then when I take the syncretism zodiac, the lower mind and the higher mind, and I have like all the angels are the angles, the higher angles are the angels, and the lower angles, are your demons and so forth. And I think if you slay your lower mind and get into the upper room and the upper consciousness, that's when you can free yourself from your thoughts and your emotions. The thoughts were. I've been dealing with a little bit of this, talking about how thoughts like come into your mind. That's kind of like the firstborn. Too is these negative thoughts that come into your mind. You need to slay them. You need to kill all the firstborn thoughts in your mind, because a lot of times they're going to be negative thoughts. And if you realize that they're negative thoughts, you can start implanting positive reinforcement into your mind. And with the trinity of thoughts, emotions, and actions, I didn't quite understand the emotions part of it like completely. It kind of tripped me up once in a while when I think about this trinity. But this week kind of gave me some good lessons about emotions, and we talked about that before, of how to overcome these emotional states with your parents and so forth, so that you don't get trapped into that kind of set too. So you have your thoughts that you kind of have to deal with, but you also have to be in the right emotional state. And if you can control that sacred masculine of thought and the sacred feminine of emotions, then your actions will flow in congruence to all that.
Yeah, in fact, that's what makes me really had to ask is like, I mean, how in the world does you silencing the mind or any of that and trying to raise that kundalini will help you reach your divine masculine or feminine? Because the thing is that where does it lie? Because the thing is it could be up here, the divine feminine and masculine. It could be up here, or it could be down in your root, or it could be anywhere.
Right. And it's also the right hemisphere of the brain. We were talking before of Stephen Molyneux being left brain. It's also the right brain, which is why Jesus said, cast your net to the right side. And there's 153 fish, which in Pythagorean addition is 9. All these numbers add up to 9 in the Bible and so forth with Pythagorean addition. But there's a lot of things of that, the upper, follow me into the house of the upper room and you'll meet God and these types of things. These biblical stories are all talking about the mind. Jacob's ladder is talking about the kundalini, can't say it, kundalini, and also there's the story of the well, and I believe there's a woman who has 5 divorced 5 husbands. Well, that's talking about your 5 senses, and he talks about the well and the desert of your consciousness. So these are all these metaphorical allegory stories that are all about meditation and going to higher consciousness and awareness.
That's what really got me really interested about numerology is like somehow in Pythagorean philosophy and even in the biblical terms, it's like the number 9 is pretty sacred.
Yeah.
And even the number 8 is also very sacred. I don't know if like they make reference to the number 8 very often. But like when I when I enter my name and my date of birth and everything, I found out that 2 of my numbers, I was given 3 numbers, and somehow 2 of them are sacred because they're both a 9 and an 8.
Well, each number has its own energy, right? The 8 is the infinity, whereas the 9, it's you exit out of the infinity into the next level of consciousness or existence.
Hey Joel, can you help me out here? Because the thing is, because I was given uh 3 numbers. One is my life number, one is my destiny number, and I don't know how many. Those are the 3 basic numbers, but like,
There's 3 or 4 sets, so you get one by just identifying your name, another one by your birth date, and then you also have an additional
yeah,
breakdowns
I mean
based
like,
on the number of consonants in your name and the number of vowels. Each
yes.
one has a distinct.
So
It speaks to your like you're saying, your life purpose and your life hurdles, things like that.
yeah, somehow I check over my life number. I don't know. My destiny number is 4. Life number is 9, and then the heart number is 8. So when people checked over my stuff, is like they were like, "This is not a normal person." Like they were when they look over my number, it's like this is nowhere near I ever seen this before.
Sounds like they were playing to stroke your ego there because no one's exceptional because you have a certain number or not.
I mean, like I got like a 9 and an 8, you know.
No, I love if you like numerology and stuff. I love Marty Leeds' work, Pi and the English Alphabet. I have his books right here, actually, right in front of my face. Here's volume 1. These books are amazing. He's got an alchemy book out too, which I don't have yet. But he takes everything and breaks it down into he takes the alphabet and breaks it down according to the 7 days of creation. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So you got the Masonic G there, but and then he counts backwards from creations, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and he does that through A through M and then N through Z, and he takes all these words and adds them up and plays with all the numbers and stuff and how all the words interrelate to each other, and he brings it all back to pi all the time. And pi, of course, is the relation to the diameter to a circumference of a circle. And I think the reason why it's a transcendental number is because I think when you're going to have a hologram or a matrix, I think you need that. Go ahead.
The guy you're referring to, I think he was interviewed once by Kerry Cassidy on our radio show. So I remember tuning into that, and he was talking about exactly what you were talking about. But I don't remember like what was the end result of all of it, like the actual practical use of determining using the numbers to get that the essence of what the words are saying is. I don't know. That brings a lot of redundancy to words in spoken language.
Yeah, his books are pretty amazing. His videos are pretty amazing. He says the symbol for like Om is like a 3 with a tail. He says that's symbolic for pi. I don't know how to explain it in sound bites, but it's really an amazing work. I absolutely love his books.
Can you write the name?
There's 3 people there's 3 people that I highly recommend learning from, and Marty Leeds is definitely one of them. Marty Leeds 33 is his YouTube channel. I think it's also martyleeds33.com. But yeah, Santos Bonacci, Bill Donahue, and Marty Leeds are all from the School of Holy Science, and they're all amazing.
Have you heard of Anton LaVey?
Satanist.
I'm actually a big fan.
He has actually, yeah.
I've heard of him.
Yeah, he has, like I said this before, but I do agree that, there is some point that if you are a very down-to-earth person, you can connect with yourself and, become your own god. So I actually, that's actually a very valid point, and I do agree with that.
Well, some of the stuff that I've been getting into a little bit lately is, Satanists. What they do is they work with magic, but they do it through Saturn and Mars kind of exclusively. What you can do is the planets coordinate with the Sephiroth of the Tree of Knowledge for the Kabbalah, so you can you can work with all the planets. Like Wicca uses like the moon and stuff, but so if you want to work with all the planets and all the energies, you can. Satanism concentrates on the Saturn and Mars aspects of that magic.
I don't, I don't really. I think you're talking about like theistic Satanism, because I don't know. Because I do, I'm a chemistry major, and that by itself is a magic of
Well,
its kind.
you'll learn alchemy.
Yeah, exactly. But
Pay attention.
alchemy is definitely, it's a magic. You're doing mixing different solvents and seeing how they react, and it's not really alchemy anymore, because alchemy really used to be about like it's more complex than alchemy, because it's like alchemy plus like mystic, like something else. It's like I can't even describe it, because you can't describe it. It's just
Alchemy is about working with the elements at its core, is it not?
yeah.
I mean, there's many forms of alchemy.
Well,
Yeah. I'm more organic chemistry, which is, kind of taking like, let's say a compound from a plant and seeing how you could perturb the polarity, the geometry. It's not it is alchemy, but it's way more than alchemy. I don't know. It's beautiful. Like every time I think about like even like certain reactions, like I don't know. Call me crazy, but I do get tears sometimes in my eyes.
yeah, well, zodiacally speaking, Saturn opposes the Sun and the Moon in its rulerships. So, and then you have Saturn, which is lead, and then you have the Sun, which is gold. So the whole transformation from lead to gold is going from the most densest element, lead, and going into the single element, which is the sun, which is all hydrogen.
Mm-hmm.
So it's again that raising yourself up from the lower vibrations to higher vibrations. So lead is a much denser, lower vibration than something like hydrogen, which is very fast moving, very vibrant, which is a higher energy.
There's a lot of
That's my bullshit explanation.
Yeah. No. That's very interesting though, because back in the day, like Isaac Newton and
Isaac Newton, there you go.
yeah, like all of those geniuses, alchemists, they were all about like that's the thing, because today's day, like scientists, they just focus on the kind of final product. They don't go like like the most important thing, even with everything, in my opinion, is like the process. So if you learn from the process, you you know learning, the process of learning itself is just like you open one door, and then there's like 5 other doors, and you open, it's like it just becomes this network of infinity of discovery, and it's beautiful.
Did you find the Philosopher's Stone yet?
No, I'm working on it. Trust me, man. I'm working on it.
That's what it's all about.
You know,
Yeah.
that's what really got me a lot more curious. Is like, seriously, like when it comes to transformation in the Bible, it's like all those are just transformations. We're all being taught to know how to ascend and everything, but like,
That's life, right?
but like when did we become nothing more than just beings that nowadays we're living in hell? Like, and even our children today are actually having to suffer our consequences for it. That doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make sense, because this is just a byproduct of a fear state that was created. A very artificial construct, and it's anything but human. The whole point of this now is just to rise above that, and that's what we're here to do. It's great that we are able to discuss this openly with each other. The next step is to put this out there and share it with other people that can have some grasp of what we're talking about and be able to have some level of being able to implement it into their own lives. And that's what you got to do, is be that bridge.
You know,
I mean, there's many forms of alchemy. I mean, there's shit. You know what I mean? What I was doing. I mean, there's certain things. You know, where I mean, you literally change the chemistry in your brain. You know, there was a point where you know, I was gonna have like a rubber ducky in the tub again or something. Yeah. But it's alchemy. It's alchemy because what I'm doing is I'm changing the brain chemistry to it was like when I was younger, in a way.
I see. Are you talking about like changing brain chemistry with some kind of pharmacological agent, or?
I mean,
Change your
you
emotional state.
could do it. Yeah, more so. More so when you do something more nostalgic, like it creates this different. You know, because you're stuck on this routine of doing this job. You're gonna, you know, whatever, a restaurant or something. You have a certain brain chemistry. When you're playing with a rubber ducky in the tub and you got Mr. Alligator, it's a different brain chemistry.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah. Yeah. Also, like, yeah, dude, I totally agree with that. Also, like, you know, if you like, you know, people like, just like when people like say like I fucked up, you know, and you know, usually not a lot of because your all of your emotions are just like so, you know, not focused on that one problem. But the thing is, which when people usually fuck up or do something, you know, you just discover that, you know, there's like all those different things you've learned that you should not do, or there's, there's usually, you know, when you mess up something, you know, you usually learn. So it's usually, you know, not always bad.
I mean, yeah, I mean, there's so many different forms of learning. I mean, you know, called pedagogy. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, I know for myself, I'm more so like a kinesthetic learner. So for me to like learn something like somebody's talking, I can understand, but I understand more so pictures and you know, like documentaries. So those are really will get my attention. That it's like a lot easier to learn, and I'm not just regurgitating information. You know.
Yeah, you have to have an awareness. You can't just be blind doing this kind of stuff. You have to be aware that you're aware. You have to have like this conscious behind your conscious, almost of watching yourself to really be aware of yourself and figure out what's going on. I'm in a space now. I've talked a little bit to Joel about this before, but I'm in such a space now where I try to be aware of everything. Every piece of information comes into my view, or like if I listen to a song and I'll be conscious of what I'm thinking about, and a song will come on the radio. I'm like, oh my God, how does that relate so much to what my thought forms are right now?
Yeah.
And then I'm driving. And then there's been a couple of times in my life, like last month, where I don't drive that much, but I drive around. One night I was driving around, and I was having like these huge epiphanies in my life, and all this higher consciousness stuff. And I was driving around to the gym and back, and I see all these, and right on cue, I see companies' names like Transformation, Divine this, so all these like company names are hitting at me. Instead of all these company names and symbols trying to sell me to them, I turn it around and say all these symbols are trying to tell me about the divine consciousness of my mind, what's going on with me right now. And when I drove up to the Wisconsin Dells this weekend, I can't remember what the signs were, but one of the signs was like your sign here, and then the next sign had something to do with something, and the next sign had to do with something. It was almost like I read it like a sentence. It's just like my mind is in such a weird space where I'm constantly like learning by being aware and relating all these things to myself, and it's just crazy. And I joked with my ex-girlfriend a long time ago. I'm gonna ramble here, but I joked with my ex-girlfriend like that I conjured her up because she was like, I had this image in my head of somebody, kind of sort of. I was laying on my couch, and it took a while, but then I realized like I'm dating the person that I dreamed up of. Like this is a person that's very, very rare. Multi-millionaire daughters, whatever. But just her, she's complete Saturn. She like complete our relationship. She was like completely Saturn. So I learned so much like from her because she was so Saturn. So that I can learn like so much about Saturn because I can just think about her. So then this new girl I've been dealing with this week that I've been learning a lot from. A couple of things that I kind of wanted to manifest for my stuff was a lotion. Actually, kind of a specialized lotion that I had the image in my head in. She actually left that bottle of lotion here, which I thought was pretty funny. And another thing I realized I wanted is another candle, and she left the candle here. I'm like, this is just bizarre shit. And this is small examples of like just weird shit that happens to me all the time. Anyway.
Have you ever listened?
I can't hear anything.
Have you? Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's better.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Synchronicity logs are amazing for that, and they kind of turn into like manifestation logs, and it's pretty awesome to write it down and just start like the synchronicities that you're talking about. Like just if you just start writing it down, it just like builds momentum and just can really keep going. And even what you were talking about, like when you're just writing it down helps. It's amazing that you're doing it with that. If you're not writing it down, so imagine how much more magical it could be. The universe clear on
I've been aware of synchronicity. I've been aware of synchronicity for a long, long time, but like I don't know what levels I've experienced it as much as I have lately.
If you start writing it down, like I don't know, I just filled up a whole notebook pretty quickly. It's pretty fascinating to watch.
Yeah, my dreams are pretty messed up too because I should write. I have to write some of this stuff down too, which I don't. You're right. I need to do this kind of stuff because I don't. When I have dreams, I'm talking to people. Like I don't have like the dreams I had like I was a kid. Like I'm sitting there and I'm having like high level discussions with people.
This is what makes me really got interested in dreams, is especially when I connect myself with the divine feminine. Is that somehow recently I got this lucid dream where I was in this cave. The whole cave itself is like dark, but then somehow whenever I walked in, the lighting was like blood red and everything. But what I didn't realize is I was stepping on corpse in that night, and I saw this altar is full of the corpse and been put into body bags, and then next thing you know, I was like, oh my god, this is scary. I'm gonna walk out just to see if like I can catch the killer, and then turns out that killer was actually part of me in there, and that person that was in the body bag was one of the people that I have personal connection to.
Yeah. Was that music?
Yeah, yeah, that was the tone that I was having whenever I was like experiencing that nightmare, and like that nightmare happens several times. Where this one time where I experienced getting raped by my father once, and I try to defend myself, and the next thing you know, I slit off his head with a real katana that day.
Damn, dude.
You have such a dark side.
Yeah, man. That was dark.
Am I staticky at this point?
Yeah, man.
Yes. Am I pure static?
Not pure static. I think it's better.
What kind of music do you guys like?
There's actually a pretty cool thing I've been listening to. I'll see if I can post it here.
Medicine for the people.
Medicine. See, synchronized right in my thoughts. That's what I've been listening.
I try to listen to other things, and I just still keep going back to that. His 2 albums.
No, they're still new to me, man.
Oh.
They're like the Native American frequency. I listen to,
They're amazing.
like,
Other than that, I listen to uplifting
man.
music.
Nice. Red Sparrows are fucking amazing. I've been listening to Red Sparrows a lot recently. They have it.
What was it? What did you say?
Red Sparrows?
Oh, I should check them out. I'm gonna write that down.
How about
What's the sound? This is big.
Hey, Chad,
Tycho? Have you guys heard of Tycho?
Tycho.
That's what I'm listening to right now. So like trancy. I listen to that stuff always when I'm meditating.
It's really good.
Doesn't sound so good right now.
Yeah.
To your computer, to our sound system. Just being real.
Yeah, I tried to listen to that Red Sparrow stuff. It wasn't for me, I guess.
Well, Chad,
I gave it like a whole album ago.
I'm saying it's distorted, but yeah, the Red Sparrows is basically, in my opinion at least, just the way that Tool mastered their style. It's more of a left brain type music, I believe, as far as Tool goes. Radiohead's the right brain style of that type, as far as hitting every spectrum. And then Red Sparrows is just being able to hit every spectrum through instrumental. It's all instrumental, so that's just what it is, in my opinion at least.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but like when my favorite music is heavy metal, and like I'm not joking, it's both the right and the left brain at its most intense moments, you know.
When we first arrived on the planet.
Matt Parker listens to some like really heavy stuff. It's like really heavy metal, but it's like all uplifting lyrics and stuff. But it's like I love like hard rock, but it's like too metal for me. I'm getting old.
Me, I listen to like.
I think
Nine Inch Nails is good too.
I think it's good, but some of it is just so like takes you out of your, your kind of wall, I guess you'd call it, like your
like dissociating, right?
Yeah, like me, I'm more of a hip hopper, but like when it's the harmonics in the music that I feel really sets the tone. So like guitar, piano, but when you get like too heavy and you get too hard, I feel like, I don't know, it's not the same type of relaxing feeling. It's more like some exercise or, something like that. I feel.
Like, I mean, like, in order to put me, like, in a meditative state, and, like, here's the funny thing about
I cannot say to heavy metal.
like, I'm not joking. You guys had to put me into heavy metal for, like, at least an hour, and then put me into Celtic Woman for an hour, and then after that, you just
Celtic Woman, yeah.
And then
see that's
like, I mean, if you turn off the music, you'll find out that I was in a trance afterwards. That's what's weird, you know.
You
it's
can
like
get in a trance to Celtic Woman. I just think heavy metal is something more you're gonna be like, headbanging and shit.
Yeah. No, I personally tried doing heavy metal, and it does get me a lot angrier, you know. It's like I can tell it burns a
That's
lot
just
of emotions out of it.
That's just the thing. This is one of the things that I heard, and this is one of the things that I don't know if it was in the 60s or when it was, but like almost all music is programming. It's just what do you want to program yourself with. All it is programming. Now, if you listen to music without words, then it's not But have you ever heard like some of the? This is not hip hop, but these are just corny ass rap songs, ass shake, shake that ass, shake that ass. And you hear it over and over, and then pretty much it's programming, you see. So, I don't know, I think just music should be just uplifting and like makes you get into the higher mind, I feel.
Yeah, a few weeks ago, I actually made a request to this community. I actually asked for some uplifting albums and songs that had uplifting messages, and Matt Parker and some other people came through with some stuff and gave me some stuff, because I was like, I'm not gonna listen to any music that has a negative vibe and negative lyrics. Like, I don't need to be programming myself with all these negative thoughts, and I'm trying to get over some stuff and get through and push on with my life. I don't need this garbage. I don't listen to that much music, but if I want to listen to music, I'm not feeling this garbage.
I would love to hear some people on that list, because that's how I feel about it too right now.
Like, I mean, man, I used to listen to, I was a Eminem. I used to listen to him like all the time, and it would fit the mood, but there was so much anger. But the music is could be used, like, it's not saying that he's doing anything wrong, but what I'm saying is if he channeled that anger into a positive way, it would be the complete opposite. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. All these people that this music is what I'm saying is the yin and the yang, is that even when you hear and you're just like, well, Marilyn Manson, all you hear about is him talking about this depressing shit, but if he channeled it into a much more loving, a much more empowering feel, then I mean it's just polarity. It can change, it can flip.
Yeah, but how many of these artists are performing what they do because that's their outlet for getting their own shit out into the world and dealing with it?
Yeah.
They're not coming from a higher enlightened place.
Yeah, but I'm saying not all of them are for that, man. I mean, it's the thing is that it may not be part of their path, you know. Everybody to this place of love, but I mean, not everybody came here to be, you know, Mr. Enlightened. I mean, it's kind of sad to say, but everybody has their own path. From what I've seen.
For sure. Yeah. While they're expressing their unenlightened path, it offers a contrast for those of us to be like, all right, that's not very enlightened. That's not the path we want to trek. We'll find another way.
Exactly. But it does teach us something, is what I'm saying. Is it does show us. It does show us an expression. Maybe show us expressions of our lower self. We need to know our lower selves, I guess, to know our higher selves. You know?
So absolutely. I mean, even looking at it from the chakras level, if your root or base chakra is out of whack and never fully well developed, every single chakra above that point is not going to be able to reach its maximum potential. And in fact, probably be quite diluted in what energy it picks up and what it gives out. So you have to absolutely develop those strong foundations in order to have any good mental clarity or conceptual clarity of any kind.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, a lot of people, man. I mean, you think if Kurt Cobain got into the chakras, think of where he would be. Certain things, it's just they weren't either exposed to it or they just didn't know about it, at the particular time. But many of them, I feel, had good intentions. It's just this information has been so underground,
occulted.
Yeah, it's been so underground, and it's just that us bringing it to the surface or bringing it to the light is just where it's just we can not only discover it for ourselves, but if other people come to it on their journey, or they run away from it, I mean, they still learn something, man.
Well, it's interesting that all dualism all polarities are, I guess, teach us, right? We see the extremes. If we see the extremes, it's always going to teach us a lesson. It's important to remember.
It is, man. That's really, I believe, our biggest problem down here. I think we put so much judgment on things that a lot of things, if you look at them from a higher mind, like, I don't know, say like one of the angels or something, you'd be able to see like it's not really as, it's the humanity, it's the human ego that makes it seem like these things are the way they are, when they could all be coming from a place of love, in a sense. Yeah.
I gotta look up.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I gotta look up hue again here. It's just I gotta get the definition for hue as in human. I can't remember what it is. I know it's aspects of color, many properties of color.
Soil.
Hue is one of the main properties of color. Blah blah blah.
But the word human comes from the word humus, which means soil. I read that somewhere.
I don't know about you guys about how I spread the vibration of music, but like whenever I start sending in heavy metal, Brad is like, God no. I'm not joking. Brad, he's like saying, God no.
Heavy metal music hurts my ears, and I just really don't get a good vibe from it. That's the way that I feel.
I'm with you on that one.
I don't know about you guys, but like when it comes to heavy metal, it's like I just know where the good vibes are and just like pick on it, because it's like it doesn't matter where what other song I would pick when I was like a little kid, but like none of them resonate with me very well. Like,
Andy, did you say that when you listen to heavy metal, it helps you put you into a more entranced state?
Yeah, like at the highest vibe, you know.
Maybe that's because it's so horrid that it's the only way you can get there is to completely escape from its horridness.
I wish you could hear my belly laugh.
What cold yang.
You know, it's like playing around with the giant waves of the tsunami. You know, it's like trying to climb on top of it and then try to ride the giant horse. It can actually kill you, or it can actually get you to where you want it a lot quicker. You know.
Yeah, I mean that's
tsunami and horse the same sentence. Sorry.
Yeah, think about it.
I think it's the polarity. I mean, I think really these things are really not that difficult. I think we just, as humans, make it difficult. Like, you have something and say you're gonna set this intention to manifest this, and you have these certain they stick a fork in the electric socket. You know, it's just like, okay, but you think nobody's mad at you. There's nobody being mad at you. You just did something they weren't supposed to do. If you just plugged it in instead of sticking the fork in an electric socket, then maybe we'd have electricity. So I mean, I kind of look at it like it's just that all these systems were built with great intention, but we just sometimes, you know, stick the fork in the wall, and that comes to what we talk about with religion, with all these things, is we forget the original intent when we go off on this other path, trying to prove like we know something.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah, no,
Michael.
completely agree.
Now just imagine that there are no walls. We break them all down, and there's no socket to stick any forks into.
Yeah, I know exactly, right, Joel?
That's the place that I feel we all want to be.
You know, that's what makes me really have to ask myself, like, if music is just sounds and everything, like, what's so scary about heavy metal or about rap music and all that stuff, you know? It's like,
Because sound can be lethal. It can trigger things inside of you that you completely cannot handle.
I hear you.
Like, for example, I know that you, Joel, you're pretty scared of heavy metal, but somehow, like, I've been through so many of the lethal things coming out of it, and, like, it's almost like as though I'm just eating another one of those mushrooms, and it doesn't seem to feel anything.
That's because you're satiated from it.
Well, I guess it depends what specific heavy metal songs you're talking about, but I think a lot of heavy metal songs don't give out these good vibes of love and togetherness. It's mostly a lot of screaming, of anger, a lot of death. Like I'm just generalizing here, but like yeah, I don't know.
No, I hear you, man. I mean, the
Well,
the thing about the generalizations is you won't find that. You'll find like a
like if you really want good
it's
heavy metal
different.
music, yeah, I know, but like you if you guys really want good heavy metal music, then the first song that I listened to when I was in seventh grade was actually Dragon Force. It was so uplifting.
Hey guys, just you guys can hear me, yeah. Um, you're gonna switch off from live broadcast next like 5 minutes if you guys just want to wrap it up. But yeah, I'm talking about some good stuff. I've been listening for a while, so just letting you know.
So yeah, that ain't go.
Oh,
Good
No
night.
problem, bro. No problem.
Yeah, that's cool.
You know, going back to what you're saying about heavy metal is that you were to like diffuse or displace the emotions of the song into a different intention, it can create something totally different. Like me, for example, so many people ask me, how did I become Super Saiyan in the first place? It wasn't just simply I was mad at somebody or just established a need. It was because I listened to heavy metal. That was a fact. I turned Super Saiyan for the first time when I was listening to heavy metal, and that's when I was like, oh,
Did you say he's turned Super Saiyan?
yeah.
Okay, yeah, there's two sides to everything. So ultimately, if you turn Super Saiyan, then you'd also have the other side of that yin yang concept that I believe you brought up a little bit earlier. So if you're Super Saiyan, at the same time you'd be super insane, I guess, if you were to look at it in that perception. But everything in all points in time really is just perception. So you're perceiving the music the way that you do, and everything else that you've experienced have led you to perceive it in that way. Other people, everyone else in the universe really hasn't had the same perception and experiences that you have, so no one's gonna hear the music the same way that you hear the music, and no one's gonna do things the way that you do it ever.
But like that's just how like I got so immune to it, because like the thing is so many times like if I were to listen to pop music, even rap music, it wasn't that much of emotions that resonate with me, you know? It's like, okay, I know you're angry, but like is that all you can do? Is that like you just saying the words out? I want something more, you know?
Scream the words out instead of singing the words out.
Scream the word out, sing it as high as you can, go bang on the guitar, or if you really need to get to the point where like you want to uplift somebody, go for whatever's wildest dreams, man. There's nothing wrong with it. And I was like,
well, music's going to do two things for you. It's going to put you in an emotional state, or it's going to reaffirm the emotional state that you're already in and give it validation.
Yeah.
Right. So you can listen to this type of music, and you can kind of like then you just go with that music, and it kind of like can calm you down or hype you up or put you in a certain mood. But if you're already in that hyped up mode, and then you listen to rock and you just get into it, you're just reaffirming the emotional state and the mood that you're already in.
Mm-hmm. Well, all right, guys, I'm gonna wrap it up with following your dreams, kind of what Andy said. But yeah, we're gonna switch this off. I mean, you guys obviously can still hang out. We're just gonna stop the live broadcast, ease up on the bandwidth.
you guys are going to go to sleep and follow your dreams, and just hope that you'll find me somewhere.
Follow
because
your
I'm not joking.
dreams into bed. Yeah.
High school.
You better pull me out.
Yo,
at night,
Brad, I was
because,
gonna say, man.
mine is so scary. I don't.
Me too, man.
Cool. All right, okay, guys. Yeah, I'm calling it a night. Thanks for your help today. Good show. Cool. All right, wave bye to the internets.
Bye, internets.
Bye.
Sayonara.
Sayonara. Cheers.